Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Lex Chatbot Series. I'm Maya at Nextwork, and I'm so excited to go through project 4 of the series. Today, we will be working on saving the user information with using Amazon Lex. If you've been following along in the last 3 projects, we have so far learned how to create a chatbot from scratch using Amazon Lex. And we've worked on defining intents, giving a friendly nature for our chatbot, where it greets its users and asks what it wants to do, providing variations in its responses, setting up custom slot types so that it specifically looks for a checking account or a savings account, and then providing a random bank balance depending on what the user asks. Today we're doing the project 4, which is where we will be setting up context carryover. And basically that is giving our chatbot memory. By setting up a context carryover, we're giving our chatbot some context or memory to so that the bot can refer to it and not use and not have to ask the user for the birth date, the date of birth again and again if it's the same user, and things like that. So it's a super useful little technique, and that's what we'll be doing today. If you are here and joining with me, drop in a note and let me know which time zone you're joining from, and we'll walk through this together. If you're completely new and haven't done any of the projects with Nextwork or in this series, no worries, I got you. In the description of the video, you will find the project guide, the link to the project guide, and we can go through this together. And the only requirement, because we will build the entire chatbot, everything that we've done in parts 1, 2, and 3 together here, maybe a little quickly, but we'll do all of it from scratch here today. And the only requirement is that you have an AWS account, which you can just create one by clicking here. But other than that, let's get started. There are many ways you can follow this project guide along. Today we'll be doing a step-by-step guidance and go through all the details. But if you prefer a little less guidance or just the steps and you want to get straight to it on your own is the best way, some guidance is a nice little balanced way of doing it. But today we're doing step by step. All right, so we are going to get started, but just as a quick note, make sure you delete all your resources. It is such an important piece of everything you do on AWS. You don't want to get charged unnecessarily. So the best thing is to just get into the practice of deleting your resources that you create, even if you're going to work on it tomorrow. Just deleting it only to save money. It's a good way to go. Good practice. Okay, so what are we here to do today? In this project, I will demonstrate how how to create a chatbot using Amazon Lex. I'm doing this project to learn how to use Lex to create a chatbot for the for a banker bot experience, for a banking chatbot, which prompts users for details and returns a bank balance. Bank balance, and remembers the date of birth, or remembers the context of the user, so that it minimizes the prompts to the user. Okay. In case you didn't know, when you fill out these prompts and these questions, you get a nice little documentation at the end of your project completion with all your answers. And if you're a pro member, you can always edit and modify it so that your documentation is up to date and looks just the way you like it to. Okie dokie. We're going to get started with a quiz. And all good. This is a pre-project quiz. So even if you don't get all of it right, totally fine. But if you've done projects 1 through 3, you might be able to answer more questions than you think. Shall we do it together? Again, if you are joining with me live, please feel free to let me know that you're here, say hi, where you're from, and we can do the quiz together. Okay, question number 1. What is the purpose of aliases in Amazon Lex? And I think we've seen this in a previous project. Is it A, to point to a specific version of a bot? B, to store information after an intent is finished? C, define intents? Or D, test the bot? The purpose of aliases, I think, would be to point to a specific version of a bot. And yay, that is correct. We'll go to the next question. What does a slot type define in Amazon Lex? A type of Lambda function. B, a type of error message. C, the type of information a slot can contain. Or D, a specific utterance. So if you remember, the slots are used, we used slots in Amazon Lex in this project series to define the account types. And so it's the type of information that a slot can carry. Okay, question number 3. What is the primary purpose of an output context tag in Amazon Lex? So this is a new one because we're talking about context here. A, check for available details before intent activation. B, store information after an intent is finished. C, build the bot, or D, define intents? This is a little tricky. The primary purpose of an output context tag would be to store information after an intent is finished, as opposed to before. The input context tag would be looking for information before an intent is activated. All right, next question. What does fulfillment refer in the context of Amazon Lex? A, building the bot. B, testing the bot. C, defining intents. Or D, completing the intent. I'm going to go with D. Fulfillment is what happens when you complete the intent. Yay! All right, are you ready for last question? What is an intent in Amazon Lex? Intent. A, is it a synonym for a slot? B, the goal the user is trying to achieve in a conversation. C, a type of error message. Or D, a greeting message from the chatbot. I'm going with option B. The intent is the goal the user is trying to achieve, and you can always think of it as an intent as we use it in English. So pretty straightforward and nice. We completed it. 5 out of 5. It's going to be easy peasy. And so now in step 1, we are going to actually build the banker bot, and we're going to repeat all the things we did in the first 3 projects, but a little faster. And we're pros by now, right? So in this step, we are setting up a new chatbot called BankerBot. We'll set up the welcome intent and set up the fallback intent, and customize it with variations. Set up a check balance with slots so that users are specifically prompted to enter their account type when they ask to check the bank balance. And we'll connect it to Lambda so that it returns actual bank figures, although for the purpose of this project, it's going to be random figures. Okay, so in this step, I will build a chatbot called BankerBot with a welcome intent to greet the users, a fallback intent to provide a friendly error message when the bot does not understand, and a check balance intent to provide a bank balance when the user provides the prompted details. this is done using the last intent. We'll use a lambda function to return the random bank balance figures. Okay, yay. And we're gonna click done. If you're a pro, your answers can be super long. If you're on the free version, you can still use it pretty nicely, just maybe a little more concise. And maybe get it right the first time so that you don't have to edit. But make sure you fill that out so that you have a nice documentation at the end of your project. All right, so now we're going to actually build the project, build the bot. And if you've already done it and you want to go through it on your own, you can. If you haven't deleted it, you can just walk right into the next steps. Or if you haven't done it at all, which we're going to make that assumption for this demo, we're going to go through all of it together, and we will have a nice little bot at the end of it. But we'll go through this very quickly. All right, so the first things, we want to log into the AWS account, which you can see on my screen on the left. We'll go straight to Lex, and this is a nice little tool that we have on the project guides. You can always copy and paste. I've also favorited. I've made it my favorite, so it's right here in my toolbar. So now we're at Amazon Lex, and we're going to make sure that we are in the version 2. And if we're not, we can just select a prompt over here, select the option here to return to V2. If you're seeing V1, that means you're already on V2. Okay, we're going to create a bot. And we're going to create a blank bot. And we are going to name it BankerBot. And give a little bit of a description. And then we're going to go to the IAM permissions and create a role with basic Amazon Lex permissions. And we do this because we need Lambda for this project. So we set up no for the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and you can read all about it. And under the idle session timeout, we're just going to leave it in the default, and we're going to hit next. We're leaving the language to English, but you can always play around with it. And I happen to like Danielle.
Hello, my name is Danielle. Let me know how I can assist you.
So we'll leave it as Danielle. And we'll also leave it with the default 0.4 intent classification confidence score. And basically what that means is that even if the chatbot doesn't completely understand and doesn't match exactly what you have programmed it or asked it to think of in terms of inputs, if it's 40% sure that it matches the intent, it will consider it as a success. So you can always play around with that number. All right, so we've selected done. We're going to set up a new intent and call it the welcome intent. Intents, as you know, are something that we define and set up so that the chatbot knows what has a very clear intent or an idea that it's trying to achieve a specific task. So in this case, we want to be able to greet the users in a very friendly manner. And so this is the welcome intent. And once we've added the description, we'll scroll down to the sample utterances. And this is where we enter very easily the text that's already provided. And you can always copy this or add more and have fun with it. These are the 4 utterances that we are providing. And if it's 40% sure, it will consider it a success. So even if the user asks for inputs, enters an input that's not any of these 4, if the bot is 40% sure, it will consider it a success because of what we set up earlier. Now we scroll down to the closing response and we expand the response sent to the user after the intent is fulfilled. And so now we want it to actually greet it. Everything looks good. Yay. So we're going to save it and we'll build it as soon as that option is ready. All right, so while that is happening, who's here? Oh, hello. Hi, Shane. Good to see you. Thanks for saying hi. Okay. You're going to see a lot of building, and so there's going to be a lot of time to stretch and have some water because it does take a couple of seconds to build. So now we're going to test it, make sure everything is working. Help me. Works. Hiya. Works. How are you? Shouldn't work. Okay, so that's a indication of a failed message, a failed intent, meaning that the bot isn't clear about what the user is trying to do. So, and when we put good morning, it also hits back as a it doesn't understand. And so we're going to customize this and make it a little more friendly. And we're going to do that by setting up a fallback intent. So we're going to go back and select the fallback intent. And so the project guide is super nice in explaining all the little things. I'm going a little fast because this might be all so old information to you because you've been there, done that. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop a note or check out the previous demos for detailed instructions. Okay, so now we are going to customize the fallback intent, and we're going to go down all the way to the closing response. And here we will add the message that is provided, but like I always say, you can add more and make it yours. And if you want a rude banker bot, you can do that too. Add as many variations as you want. I'm going to add one more. Oops, I didn't quite get that. Could you try again? And then I'll make our bot say the same thing. Okay. How does that look? All right. We're going to save the intent and we're going to hit build. Ready? Okay. Time for another stretch. Let's see. Who else is here? I know you're there. Just say hi. Okay. Yeah. I'm so excited. This is project 4, and then tomorrow we're going and doing project 5. And with that, we'll be done with the series. So exciting. It's a good project. All right, so now we're going to do test. And we're going to try a couple of different options. Say, hey, didn't quite like that. What's up, BankerBot? Okay, so it's, see, the fallback intent is working. It's instead of a very boring fallback intent fulfilled, it's actually giving you a very friendly message that it didn't understand. So you can keep trying. All right, so 2 intents done, welcome intent done, fallback intent done, and now we're going to create a account type slot. And this is so that we can make sure that we have an intent for that prompts for accounts and date of birth and all that good stuff. So we're going to create a slot type first. Head over to slot type, add a slot type, add a blank slot type, and then I'm going to copy this and put account type, add it, and then we get to see a whole panel, slot type, account type, and you can always fill it up with more information. We are going to specifically make sure, this is a very important one, restrict it to slot values. So that means only specific values will be considered okay. So we want to be able to ask for an account type. And when we do that, we want our users to say either checking, savings, and credit. And in the credit, they can also say things like credit card, Visa, MasterCard, Amex, Amex, and American Express. Okay, so now if the user asks any of these values and enters any of these, it'll consider, bot will be like, oh, okay, that's an account type, that's a valid account type. So we're going to do this, and we are going to set save slot type. Now that we've done the slots, we are actually going to create the intent, and it's going to be called the check balance intent. In the check balance intent, we are going to give a little bit of a description that Nextwork allows you to nicely copy and paste, making it super easy. And we're going to go scroll down to the sample utterances and enter these. So as long as the user says anything, any of these prompts, or if the bot thinks it's 40% sure that the user entered something along these lines, it'll be considered a successful intent for the check balance. And so the bot will then say, I know exactly what you're talking about. So once we add that, as you can see, we have account types, and that is where we are referring to the slots. And if the user says specifically credit or Amex or checking or savings, then the bot will understand that, okay, the user is asking about something in this regard. Make sense? Okay, so now we've done that, and we're going to go down to the slots, and we're actually going to set it up so that Lex knows to check the account type. And I have typed this out, but it was already there. So we've done account type, and we've selected account type from the drop down. And for the prompt, if the user hasn't already given the account type in the question, in the input, it'll ask specifically for the account. Now we've added the account type, and we also want to make sure that we're a very secure bank, and we want to make sure that only our users, our banking customers, get their specific bank balance. And so we're going to set up and ask for their identity for verification purposes. And so we're setting up one more slot and making sure that it's in the date format. And so Amazon has that nicely done. You can also look at other slot types that is built in to make sure that it's in that specific format, and it makes sure that you have a good format of an input. Okay, and we've done all of that. We saved the intent, and we're going to build it. Okay. While we're building, I'm going to take a sip of water. Almost there. Okay. And then we're going to ask our bot and test out this new intent that we've created. Now you could be very confident and say, oh, I've done everything, it should be fine. I've done this before, I already know, I don't need to test it. But sometimes we all make mistakes, and it could be little mistakes, and so it's always a good idea to just check. I want to check my balance, please. BankerBot says, for which account would you like your balance? And I'm going to say, checking. It asks for verification purpose. What is your birth date? And it says intent check balance fulfilled. Well, I'd like a little more friendly intent, so we'll customize that in a bit. And just so that you know what's happening, you can always do the inspect. And this is also a nice place to troubleshoot and see what's happening. So the slots, account type, and date of birth have been filled. And now you have this information stored, and chatbot, our banker bot, knows things about us now. So in the chat window, we're going to also ask again, what's the balance in my savings account? And so now it's asking for the date of birth. And keep in mind, now it's not explicitly asking for which balance that you would like, because we've provided the savings as a slot. And so our bot now knows that it needs to get the balance from this specific account, but it's asking for our date of birth again. And what we're going to do in this project is not have BankerBot ask us that, but have it remember who we are so that it doesn't keep asking for our date of birth. Okay, so now we are going to set up our Lambda function so that it actually gives us a little bit of a nice response. Even if it's random, it'll give us a count. We're going to head to Lambda. Again, you can always type it up and find it. And if you keep using a service, make sure you star it so that you can come back to it. We're going to create a function. And this is the author from scratch. Function name is going to be the banking bot English. And we are doing the runtime in Python. So make sure that you change this one. Super important. And everything else looks good. We're going to scroll down and create function. Why, hello, Preet. Thanks for joining. Preet asks if this project is feasible under free tier. Absolutely. All of these, the Lex service is free. Just to be safe, I highly recommend that you just delete the services after the end of the day. But yes, it is free, and this project is free too. So if you aren't already following along, the link is in the description, and we can work on this together. We're creating the function code, and you've got some default code. Nextwork has provided code for you to copy and paste, which you can always go through in detail. This is all in Python. And once we do that, copy paste, replace the placeholder, which is all done and looks good. So I'm going to hit deploy. My voice seems to be failing me today. Okay, now that we've deployed, we're going to go back to Lex, and we have that here. And we'll select BankerBot. And we're going to the aliases. And by aliases, we're specifically going to connect it to our bot. Excuse me. All right, so we go to testbot alias, and from the languages, we are selecting English. Amazing. And then in the source, we already have our banking bot Lambda function, and we're going to select the latest so that it's automatically the latest function, allowing us to edit the function whenever we need, and it will automatically have that. And now that we've hit save, we're going to go to the check balance intent and head over to the fulfillment panel. So this is where we want it to be a little more friendly. Let's find the fulfillment. So on successful in fulfillment, we're going to set the advanced options, and we're selecting this checkbox here. We want to use a Lambda function for fulfillment, and we also need to make sure that we update all the options before we hit save intent. And now we're going to hit build. Okay. Time for another stretch. Okay, so while that's Waiting. Preet, do I need to go through the previous LexBot chat videos to follow along, or can I start from today? You can start from today. We are building the chatbot from scratch. I'm going through a little fast, just because you might have done 1 through 3 with me, for whoever is joining. But today, right now, we're doing everything from scratch. And tomorrow for the chatbot 5, we will be doing from scratch again. So make sure you delete those services. Okay. All right, ready to test? Okay. Here, we're gonna follow the screenshot for suggestion of how we want to test it. BankerBot, please check my balance. Check it for my Amex account, please. Oh, see, there's an error. It's asking me again. Why is that happening? Credit. Uh-oh. Savings. Okay, so something is not set up correctly, and this means it's troubleshooting time. Clearly, I have missed out on some step, and it looks like the slots aren't working as it should. So I'm going to go back and make sure that the slots have been added. Okay. Oh, interesting. It worked for savings. I'm going to try again. Okay, so this time it worked. But I'm really curious to know what happened with credit and Amex. So bear with me here. I'm going to try it again. And I say, check my balance. Okay, for which account would you like your balance? And I'm going to say my credit. Oh, that's not working. Checking. Okay, so checking seems to be working. Saving seems to be working, but credit is not working. So where would I go to figure out what happened? It seems like it's not recognizing credit or Amex. So maybe I didn't set up the slot properly. And so I'm just going to check, go to the slot type and check the account type. Look at that. Do you know what I did? I didn't add value. So I'm going to do that again. Credit. I'm going to do Amex, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. I think that's good enough. Okay, and then I should add value, and I didn't do that last time. So now I'm going to save the slot type and then build it again and then test it. But errors like this are so common, and it's totally fine if you run into an error. Troubleshooting is such an important skill when you're working on the cloud space and IT and CS in general. So trying to figure out and map your steps and really logically try to understand what might be going on with the information that you have is a very, very important skill. Okay, so now that we've built it, we're going to test it. Cross fingers and hope that it's working now. Let's see. Check my balance. And I'm going to put Amex. Yay! Look at that, it worked. And it worked because we added that extra slot type that I had forgotten to add initially. And Yay! And now I can actually enjoy the fact that Lambda function is working and that it is actually verifying that there is the intent is fulfilled, and now it can provide a random number in this format. So wonderful. We're done. We're all caught up. Can you believe that? We did all of it in just 45 minutes. Not bad. Okay. So we're going to level up, and we're going to now create context. And by doing this, our bot will be able to understand. Or for example, if I say check savings now, oh, it's expired. But we're going to set it up so that our bot has a memory, and we're going to give it some context. Okay, so we're going to move to step 2. I see a question from Preet. Preet, you're going to join along with me. You're a little behind, but you'll join on tomorrow's. Amazing. I'm going to try and see if playing around with the feature here. Okay, do we get any student discount for a pro version of your website? I really want to get the pro version, but being a student myself restricts it. Oh my goodness, great question. Is there, I'm just trying to see if there's any way I can highlight this comment, because it's such a good question. Thank you so much for asking, Preet. There is no discount, but we do offer Nextwork Pro version for free. And for that, you just need to check out the community, and active community members on Nextwork get a pro membership for free. So join Nextwork community. It's community.nextwork.org. The link should be in the description. But yeah, great question, Preet. Thanks for asking. Okie dokie. Are you ready for step 2? All right. So now, in this step, we are going to teach our bot to remember all the information that it has collected, or whatever information we want it to remember. And so this specifically, this step, we are going to focus on the user's birthday so that it doesn't keep asking for verification processes. Enter your date of birth. Instead of asking that again and again, we want our users to have a nice, friendly, simple, and seamless experience. So in this step, I will set up the check balance intent to remember the user's birthday, so that the user does not have to keep entering the date of birth when they want to check their balance in their other accounts. How does that sound? Okay, I like it. I'm gonna hit done. And then in my bank balance, so in your bank balance intent page, how do we get there? We go back and we have all our bots and our intents. So go to intent and go to check balance, scroll down all the way to the context panel. Where's the context panel? Okay, here. And we want to add an output context. So now I don't know if you remember the quiz question that we had in the beginning about the output context and the input context. Here we are going to create a new context tag. And what the output context tag does is that it asks, we're basically asking our chatbot to remember details about the users or whatever we wanted to remember after an intent is finished. And in doing that, the account type or the date of birth is saved and reused. If we want the bot to have specific details before a user inputs specific things, then we want to set up the input context tag. For this project, we're doing an output context, and we're going to name it context check balance. Okay, it looks good. We are setting it as the default 5 turns or 90 seconds. And what that means is as long as the bot is asking, as long as you ask it for 5 times, up to 5 times, or within 90 seconds, the bot will remember the details. Okay? Now, what details does it need to remember? Oh no, I forgot to take a screenshot. Let me do that again. Okay, so it doesn't look like add a new context, but at least I get this piece in there. Okay. Oops. I'll try again. Okay. Amazing. And I'm going to hit done. Okay. And we hit save intent. Everything looks great. We're going to build. And now we're going to ask, we're going to answer some questions really quickly. So what are context tags? Context tags are I'm going to be a little creative here. Context tags are like sticky notes that the bot keeps between intents. We can set up an output context to store info after an intent is completed, or an input context to check for info before an intent is triggered. Amazing. Oh, I got ahead of myself. Thank goodness I have a pro account, because now I can just edit that. There are 2 types of context tags. Okay? And in which intent did you create the context tag? I created the context tag called context check balance. This context tag was created in the intent check balance. This tag stores information about we want it to store information about our users' date of birth. Okay? Amazing. Okay, and so now we're gonna test. Oh, build is complete. Ready? Are you nervous? Okay. Let's see what happens. Hello. Check my balance. For which account would you like your balance? For savings, please. Okay. For verification purpose. Okay. Everything looks good. So even though we've set up the context and everything is set up so that it remembers, we haven't asked, our banker bot doesn't know to ask our user whether the user wants to check another account balance. And so we're going to create another intent called the follow-up check balance intent. And in that intent, we're going to ask our user, or we're going to allow our banker bot to receive questions like, hey, what about my savings account? Or what about my checking account? And so that it's just not done at like checking the balance and having like a dead end. So in this step, we're going to set up a new intent. So in this step, I will set up a new intent because I want my banker bot to handle follow-up questions that the users may have about their other bank balances. Okay? Done. Awesome. Okay. From your left-hand navigation panel, head back to the intents page, add intent. So we'll go to intent, and we're going to add a new intent. And we're going to call it follow-up check balance. Okay? And the description is going to be, the intent to allow a follow-up balance check request without authentication. Okay, so now we go to context, and we're going to select the context check balance from the input context. Okay, and we're going to select that, and we're going to add the following utterances. All right, everything looks good, and we can add this, add 2 slots. We're adding a slot for account type. So when the user is asking for another balance, we want to make sure that we have the information, and that's the account type. If they haven't already provided the account type, we want to ask for this So we enter the prompt, and we set up another slot for the date of birth. We already have the built-in slot type, which is a date, and we're going to ask this question prompt if the user hasn't already given that information, right? Okay. I am going to take a screenshot of the intent utterances. I like this version. Okay, so if we ask any of the following, it will consider a successful intent and trigger the follow-up check balance, and then it'll make sure that the following inputs are provided, and if it doesn't, it will give the specific prompt. And note, this time we set up an input context so that when this intent is called, it is basically making sure that the bot has that existing information about the balance. So we've set up that context for our intent, and everything looks good. Okay, let's answer one more question. What does the follow-up check balance do? So the follow-up check balance, the purpose of this intent is to allow users to ask another question about another account, to ask a follow-up question about another account balance. Okay, done. Looking good. We're gonna save that, and okay. So we've set everything up, right? We've set up the follow-up check balance. We've set up an input context tag, but we haven't actually configured it to carry over the date of birth. So how do we do that? In this step, I will set up the follow-up check balance date of birth slot to use saved information. Okay, and done. All right, so how do we do this? We're still in our follow-up intent. We're gonna go to the slot date of birth, right? We've got date of birth here. And we're gonna open this, and we'll select advanced options and scroll all the way down to the default values, okay? And here is where we want it to to remember a specific value. So we're carrying over the context. So this is already provided for you, but it does, AWS does give you like a framework of what it's looking for. And basically that is the context tag, which is our context check balance, and then the variable, which is date of birth. So think slots, right? And so once we've added that, we add the value, and then we update slot. Okay, great. Everything looks good. I didn't take a screenshot of my defaults. Let me do that very quickly for my documentation. So where was that again? Scrolling all the way down to the defaults. And I'm gonna do this really quickly. Just, yeah, let's put this much. So many options. And I'm gonna quickly upload this one and then go back to the instructions. Okay, so now that everything is done, head back to the fulfillment pane. Where's the fulfillment pane? Okay, there it is. And on the successful fulfillment, we're going to go to the advanced options and select the Lambda code hook again, just like we did for our check balance, so that it actually provides the random bank balance that we want it to. Okay, everything looks good. We've put the screenshot, hit done, update options, save intent. Oh my goodness, everything's looking just nice. Okay, I'm gonna build it. Okay. Oh wow, feels amazing. So while we wait, how are follow-up, check balance, and how are follow-up check balance and check balance connected? So this intent is connected to the previous intent check balance because it has the same, it performs the same function. Returning a random number for the bank account, bank balance, when the account type and date of birth is provided. Okay, I'm just going to check. Maybe the next question asks, okay, how is context check balance connected to your output context? So I created an input context check balance that, so I'm just gonna make sure, and you can always scroll up and get inspired by how we've written things. But basically, how the context check balance is connected to your output context is, I see a typo. Okay. So let me change that. So I created an output context balance to, in this case, I think I want it to be input. I apologize. I will quickly correct this after the live, so that your documentation looks just nice. I created an input context balance that remembers the date of birth of the user before the follow-up check balance. Okay, nice. Okay. All right, so now we are going to, we built it and we tested. Choose test. Okay, so this is a little tricky here. Just to get clarity, we've created two intents. We've got check balance and we have follow-up check balance, and there's a very subtle difference between the two. And to explain that, we're doing this test here. Okay, so we're going to test. In the first test, we're going to try not triggering the check balance. So we just ask, what about checking? Okay, and there's an error here, right? It doesn't understand what about checking. And if you select the inspect, you'll see that it's calling the fallback intent, because that is the prompt that matches that intent. So if you want to run what we want to do is to first have the check balance. So we're going to call the check balance. How do we do that? We actually say check balance, check my balance. And when we do that, you see that the intent check balance is activated. Once we do that, as part of what we've set up so far, is we enter all the details. So you can look at the screenshot for ideas. I can say savings. And then for verification purposes, I enter a birth date. And it gives me a balance. And now I can follow up again and say, hey, what about checking? And so here it automatically worked because it already knew the date of birth based on the context, and it has an exact account type. And so everything looks good, and it understands, and it seems successful, and it actually returned like it worked. It gave a random number. So everything looks good, and feel free to play around with it and kind of see how the things are working, what prompts work and what doesn't. When does it when does it activate the follow-up check balance, and when does it not? Things like that, okay? And you can also add more prompts like, can I check another account? Or I'd like to check another account. Those are other utterances that you can add. So make it yours, get creative, and showcase that skills and learning. All right, so I'm going to take a screenshot of my beautiful banker bot. And voila, looking nice. What did you say to your chatbot to trigger follow-up check balance? So to trigger follow-up check balance, I had to first trigger check balance, by entering the input check my balance, which then resulted in a random bank amount or bank balance. I then had to ask the question, what about checking? In order to trigger the follow-up check balance. Okay, that answers the question. What if follow-up check balance is triggered without context? If I had gone straight to trying to trigger follow-up check balance without setting up any context, which I did in the first test, I would see an error that the bot did not understand what I was trying to do. Sorry. The question is, if it's triggered without context. Without setting up context, I would see an error that the bank, what would happen? What would happen is it would ask again for another date of birth. So I would have received a prompt from BankerBot asking for my verification details. That is my date of birth. By setting up the context, BankerBot did not ask me for my date of birth again when I asked to check the balance of another account. Okay. Whew, what a long answer. Okay. Awesome. Wow, we're going to get into the secret mission. Exciting. I'm just going to pause really quickly and take a look at any questions that came up. Oh, hi, Preet. Okay, sorry I missed all those messages. Let's see. Okay. Yes, community is a great place to brainstorm with peers, with people who are trying to learn the same things that you are and have very similar goals. Good question about LexBot. The question is, I wish there was a way I could put it on the screen. I'll figure that out for the next live on how to do that. But let me just read out the question. For the LexBot, if we are making it like an AI chatbot, shouldn't we go for AWS Bedrock or Q? Great question. And Bedrock is great. And we do have Bedrock projects. This is a very easy, simple way that allows you to do a lot in the free tier. So that's the benefit of using Amazon Lex. Instead of, Preet asks another question, instead of taking text input from user, is it better to just provide them options we put as sample utterances so that we don't encounter any spelling mistakes or any other text error? Excellent question. We don't have to worry so much about spelling mistakes and text error. I mean, ideally you want to double check and make sure that you have the right spellings. But like I mentioned, because we have that intent classification set up as 0.4, as long as our bot is 40% sure, so at least if it matches the spelling by 40%, it should work. So that's the piece where the AI kicks in, where it's actually using deducing that is it 45%, it's classifying what the input is with the information that it has and it checks. Is there any advanced AWS project series on the channel? Oh, so many. We have the RAG Bedrock series on the channel. We have our DevOps challenge, which is very spicy and very can be very difficult. If you've completed that, then you're a rock star. But yeah, we do have a lot of project demos on the channel. And so yeah, do check. Thanks for asking all those questions, Preet. Okay. All right, so we're gonna unlock secret mission. This is a pro feature, but we're gonna do it on the video, on the demo today. So follow along, even if you're not pro. In this session, in this secret mission, we're going to test BankerBot's memory. And we're also going to make BankerBot forget the user information. And we're just playing around a little bit with context and context expiry. So let's get into that. So in this mission, I am going to test and play around with the context expiry. And make my BankerBot forget user info quickly. Okay, awesome. All right, so now we're going to head back to the check balance intent, and we're going to, okay, check balance intent, so it's okay, we're here. And go scroll down all the way to the context, and we see the context, and here we set it up as the default 5 turns or 90 seconds. And like we talked about, what that means is 5 turns means that you can ask it 5 times, or within 90 seconds, and the BankerBot will remember the information you wanted to. If we want, so we're gonna actually test this out, right? We already have the latest and greatest version. It's all updated, so we don't have to build again. But we're gonna test another version, and we're gonna do it again. So start from the beginning of calling check balance, which is, we do that. And here I'm even doing that extra, providing the account type, so that's one less prompt that I need to worry about. So check my savings account, and to pass a date of birth, I'm just going to add my default date that I like to enter. And it's giving the account, great. So now I'm just going to quickly check the inspect. It does say 5 turns or 90 seconds. I'm going to ask about what about checking? And now you can ask it 4 more times or within the next 69 seconds. And we can wait for a little bit and see how that goes after a couple of seconds. I'm going to try just one more. What about credit? Okay, so we have 25 seconds left, and I'm pretty sure that by the time I finish talking, it's going to be past 25 seconds. But I'm also just going to quickly check Preet's question. Oh, great. Preet has already done the DevOps challenge and is going to do the RAG series after this. Great. Okay. Are you ready? Shall we check one more? What about savings? Ah, and it's gone to fallback intent. It's completely forgotten. BankerBot has forgotten the information after 90 seconds. Okay. So, as an extension of this project, we're going to answer this question. What does context expiry mean? An extension for this project is to manage context check balance, which means that we can set the number of times the bot will remember the user info, or the amount of time, the duration of time, the amount of time before it forgets the user info. So by default, expiry is in 5 turns or 90 seconds. Okay, and hit done. Great. Okay, we kind of did that. All right. So, yeah, the bot doesn't give you the account balance because it has expired, and we can always check by looking at the inspect window. We're going to customize it a little bit and make it even shorter and really see this in action. So I'm going to say 2 turns and 10 seconds. Okay? Again, you can always change it. The project guide says 1 and 5. I'm just going to give it a little more time because maybe I need that 10 seconds. But if you might, think about, like, why would you want, in what context would you want to reduce the memory of the chatbot? Any ideas? Why would this be important? Why is it important to be able to customize how long the bot remembers your information? Why keep it less than 90 seconds or greater than 90 seconds? Okay, think about that while we test. Okay, ready? So we do the whole drill again. I didn't take a screenshot. That's okay. I'll come back to the screenshot because it's going to expire again. Oh, no. Just kidding. It's very important to read the instructions very clearly. It's asking for the expiry settings. Okay, so take a screenshot of the new expiry settings, and I have set it as 2 and 10 seconds. So now, look at that. Beautiful. Okay, I've built it, and I'm going to test it. Are you ready? I'm just going to copy and paste. Check my balance. Oh, let's do it again. Refresh. Okay. Check the balance. Add the date of birth. And then in my inspect, I should see check balance. And the context is 2 turns or 10 seconds. Do you think 10 seconds has expired? I think so. I think Preet also Preet has a... Okay, yeah, we see fallback intent. And why do we see fallback intent so quickly? Because we set it up that way. We asked for just 2 times, or like 1 message, or 5 seconds, or 10 seconds, and we've made it so much shorter that it doesn't work anymore in that short time. But if I'd asked another question within that 10 seconds, it would have worked. And I have the answer right up here of why context expiry might be useful. But I'm just going to quickly read Preet's answer. If we were to reduce memory, it's mainly for saving the memory instances and also to delete unnecessary info like different accounts. But it would be better if we can permanently save the date of birth in memory. I like the way you think. It's a good way of thinking about saving data storage space. So that's a valid point. But more specifically, because it's a chatbot and it's a very temporary thing, and data might not be as much of an issue in this particular case, but what you want to think about is, do you want people to keep asking for the bank account balance to the chatbot? It could be that we want the user to be able to provide information for a limited time, and then it kind of locks them out. Kind of like after a while, if you step away from your computer, it goes into an auto lock. And we set that up for maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on what we want, just so that our information is secure and not anybody can access that information. And so we might want to reduce the time for security reasons. But like you said, Preet, it does make memory, having long-term memory is great depending on the context, like wanting to remember that user and who they are, and so that it's a very seamless conversation, like having a conversation with somebody. Oh, Preet, you're not able to hear my answer. I wonder if there's something with the internet connection. Maybe it is something on your end. I will definitely take a look at it at the end of the live. We're almost done here. Okay? But great answer. Excellent. You nailed it with the longer memory piece. How did you update your context expiry window? So I updated my bot's context expiry to 2 turns or 10 seconds, which means that what that means for my end users is that they can ask for a follow-up bank balance request for 2 more times or within 10 seconds. What would you use? How would you use context expiry windows? A long context expiry window would be helpful when we want the bot to remember our users' information for a longer conversation. A shorter context expiry window will be helpful when when we want to, we want a secure, we want a more secure experience, or would be helpful when we want more when we want a more secured information conversation, especially when sharing sensitive data. Okay. Preet, are you still able to hear? I will definitely check out the error on my mobile after this. But I think you were right on with having the wanting to have a longer memory so that the conversation is very easy and very human-like, where the bot remembers you. And so if you're having a long conversation and you want them to remember your name, for example, that's something that you would want to save throughout that conversation. The issue about memory may not be a big concern in depending on the infrastructure, but it's really important to have short memory if you are dealing with sensitive data. So I think you nailed it with the answer. Okay. Well, we're done. How exciting is that? We have just completed the project today. We've set up our very own banker bot from scratch, and it remembers the user's date of birth and doesn't keep asking for it, and everything is looking great. So excited. Okay, so Amazon Lex is a AWS service, and it's useful because it allows you to create chatbots without too much coding. How did you use Amazon Lex today in this project? I used Amazon Lex to build a bot from scratch that greets the user, provides friendly error messages, and returns a random bank balance when the user provides the account type and date of birth. The bot also remembers the date of birth for a period of time, allowing the user to ask for other bank balance amounts without having to verify the user's date of birth again and again. Cool. What is one thing you didn't expect in this project? One thing I didn't expect in this project was how easy it is to change the way, the time the duration of the memory, the bot's memory. How much time did this project take you? This project took me, let's see, almost 2 hours, or took me less than 2 hours, including creating the bot from scratch and creating this documentation. All right. Thanks for doing this project. Thanks for joining along with me. I'd love to know why you joined and are doing this project live with me. It's so nice to have you. I really hope the audio issues are getting better. Let me know. And I can see if I can check if there's something I can do. I chose to do this project today because I am excited to learn about Amazon Lex. Something that would make learning with Nextwork even better is doing more project demos live. Smiley face. Okay. All right. So, very important, delete your resources, and we're going to delete everything together. Let's see if you can delete it on your own. But if you don't, there's the full guide. Make sure that you're deleting the banker bot, the Lambda function, and the Lambda function log files. So, to delete the Lambda bot, Lex bot, you go to Amazon Lex, select banker bot, action, delete, and goodbye, banker bot. Okay. Then we want to go to Lambda and delete the function. Okay. Nice. And then we need to go to the Lambda functions log files. Remember where they are? We want to go to CloudWatch. So we go to CloudWatch. We hit logs, log groups, and we go ahead and delete the entire log group, and voila, everything is done. Yay, we did it. Oh my goodness. Done with project 4 of the Lex Chatbot series. Amazing. Preet, you still with me? Ready to do the quiz again? Okay, let's go. Question number 1. What is an intent in Amazon Lex? Is it A, the goal the user is trying to achieve the goal the user is trying to achieve in a conversation, a type of error message, a synonym for a slot, or D, a greeting message from the chatbot? Okay. Looking good. What is fulfillment referred to in the context of Amazon Lex? Is it A, building the bot? Is it B, defining intent? C, completing the intent? Or D, testing the bot? Easy questions, easy. Question number 3. What does a slot type define in Amazon Lex? Is it A, a type of error, B, a type of Lambda function, C, the type of information a slot can contain, or D, a specific utterance? It's the specific type of information that the slot can contain. Woohoo! Okay, fourth question. What is the primary purpose of an output context tag in Amazon Lex? Is it A, store information after an intent is finished? B, define intents? C, define the bot? Or D, check for available details before intent activation? I'm going to say A. Look at that. Looking nice. Question 5. What is the purpose of aliases in Amazon Lex? Is it A, define intents? B, test the bot? C, store information after an intent is finished? Or D, point to a specific version of a bot? And that would be D. Amazing. Amazing. Am I admiring myself? Maybe. Okay. All right. I'm sure all of you are rocking it and getting 5 on 5 after the entire project. And now we are going to generate the project documentation. Are you ready? Okay, so at the end, you should be able to see the final little piece over here. Oh no, it says still tasks to complete. Oh no, so how do I find out what is pending? So this is a nice little trick that you can check. I missed a couple of tasks and it was just about hitting done. Look at that. Is that it? I think so. I think so. So we go all the way down and yes, I see the mission accomplished. And after that, I will be able to download my project documentation. I can save to the portfolio, or I can save as a PDF. Or if you're pro, you can save it as a markdown or a README file. So many options. And you can even have a little fun with it if you're a pro member. Okay. So I'm saving the PDF. And saved it. And I'm going to pull it up right here. Woohoo, it looks so beautiful. And it has all the screenshots, all the answers that we entered. Everything is in here with all the details and screenshots of every step that we've done. And voila. It looks so beautiful and it was so much fun to do it with you. Thank you, Preet, for joining live. It was so amazing because you were there and made it so much more engaging for me. Really appreciate you. And I can't wait to see you tomorrow for Lex 5. But for today, we're all done. Have fun and remember, you can always share your documentation to the celebrations in our community. If you run into any error while doing any of the projects, always know that you can just come and ask. It's a great place to put your errors, ask questions. If you have ideas about what more needs to be done, like look at this right here, integrating Lex with web app. How do you do that? There's somebody who wants to know. So if you have an answer, come on in and answer it, find more. And also check out the celebrations and add your documentation and share all the stuff that you're doing with us. so excited to see you here, have you here, and hope you're finding next work useful. So happy to be here. Can't wait for tomorrow. Until then, see you. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.